matter how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Welcome to the driver's seat. I'm your host, Courtney, the woman. Don't forget to smash that like button and enjoy the show. Don't forget also to comment, subscribe, share out the stream. And I want to give a special shout out to my bloodline brother Geekster for the show idea. And tonight we're going to be talking about the top 5 drivers, hey Otter, of 1950s, when NASCAR actually became a thing in the 1950s. So I thought, hey, what's going on, Fluid? Thanks for stopping by, everybody. We're going to talk about the top 5 drivers of the 50s. Are you ready to go full throttle with me? Let's get into it, shall we? The top 5 drivers of 1950. Okay. That right there is, I believe, that is, one moment. At number 5, I have Fireball Robert, who was an awesome champion. I had forgotten who I put at number 5. Sorry, y'all. Fireball Roberts was a scrapper, and he really was just on top of that wheel in the 1950s. And so he also had a bunch of championships too. He had 33 wins. Top 10s were 122, and he had 32 poles. His last race was in 1964, the World 600, now known as the Coca-Cola 600. So there's a little bit of history there for you. And he used to drive for Jim Davis. So I just wanted to let y'all know who he drove for. And for my 4th person, I have Tim Flock. Now, Tim Flock, no bird jokes, please, okay? Get it? Tim had the I will get to that later, Geekster. That's the second half of the show, buddy. Did he fly away? Oh my god, y'all are crazy. I love it though. Now, Tim Flott was inducted in the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2014. A little fact of him. Um, he was a two-time NASCAR Premier Series driver. And he had 39 victories and is 18th on the all-time wins list. So really cool to see them get inducted. My third driver should be Herb Thomas. Now, Herb is cool because you see his car right here. It had the Hudson Hornet on it. Anybody does that ring any bells to anybody? Because it was in a movie. I'm gonna tell you anyway. That car was in the Lightning McQueen movies, and that's why that was so interesting. That for me, because it's really cool to see Herb Thomas get recognized for his stock car. Now his stats are 48 wins. Yes, cars. Thank you, Geester. Cars. I couldn't think for a moment, y'all. Top 10s are 156, and he had 39 poles. Now, in his first win in 1950 was my home track, Martinsville. So Herb Thomas was a really good racer, and yes, I think he was even known as the Hudson Hornet too, because I think he was known to fight. Not really sure because I wasn't born in the 1950s, so I couldn't answer that for you. And my second driver of number 2 is none other than Buck Baker himself. Now, Buck Baker drove the 87 for a while. And actually, the really cool thing about Buck Baker is he started his own driving school. In 1980, he was a two-time series champion. In 1980. He also opened his school in 1980, so you can teach racers, race fans, and adrenaline junkies about NASCAR. And so it's really cool to see. I just got to get to his stats now. Buck Baker had 46 wins, 372 top 10, and 45 poles. Could you imagine winning 45 poles? I couldn't. And in 1973, the Sunoco 260 was his last race, and that was in Hickory, North Carolina. And now for my top driver of the 1950s, is none other than Lee Petty. That's right. You see his son on here. That is Richard Petty's daddy. Now, I love the Petty family. They have a summer camp for kids all year round who have illnesses and different things wrong with them, and that's called Victory Junction Gang Camp. And the Petty family is just special to me. Like, I could go on and on about them. Lee Petty, he had 54 wins, 332 top 10s, and 18 poles. And his first race was in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he is also the father of race car driver now analysis Kyle Petty. And in let's see, the reason they named Victory Junction is, I'll just tell you a quick story. Victory Junction Gang Camp is because to honor Kyle's son Adam Petty, who died in the 2000s from a very nasty racing accident. I will say that because he was testing and in it. So Victory Junction was named in honor of Adam Petty for children who have illnesses and disabilities, and they service. Yes, he does. He has a son, Kyle Petty, who's an analyst, fluid, and a commentator, and he also is very hands-on with Victory Junction Gang Camp, who they named in honor of Kyle's son, who we lost in the 2000s due to a horrible accident on the racetrack. I have been there the second year it was open. I went for Heart and Kidney Week, and we had a bunch of fun, and I had kitchen duty, but I got to go be with the kids more than do kitchen duty, so that's a little fun fact about the Petty family. And they also own their own car, which is now known as Petty GMS Motorsports. All right, now let's see. Any other questions before I get to the next part of the show? Okay. Here are my top 5 drivers from Las Vegas this past weekend. Tell you my story? Okay, Geester. I always wanted to go and volunteer at Victory Junction Gang Camp. And the first year I was unavailable to go for obvious reasons. A little known fact is I have a heart condition called mitral valve prolapse and a kidney disease called FSGS with stage 3 kidney failure. And I was able to go heart and kidney week. My mom took a vacation week off, and we had fun. I got to meet Kyle. And funny story, Kyle actually broke my Dale Jr. watch I was wearing because he said, "Why are you wearing that? We should have a Kyle Petty one." They never made a Kyle Petty watch, so that's my funny story with Kyle. So yeah, I had fun at camp. Just getting to know the kids and stuff, and I actually keep in touch with some of the counselors down there, and met my buddy Austin Petty, who is shout out Austin, who is Kyle's son. Who or how did you become a good question from Fluid here? Who influenced my love for racing, or how did I become a fan of NASCAR? Um, my uncle Richard was a big NASCAR guru. Um, so we would talk. I would go over to his house when I was little and watch racing with him, and I loved pulling for Richard Petty, who you see on the screen. I was a huge 43 fan, and then in 6th grade, we actually got to go down to the museum in Roundelman, North Carolina. Roundelman is a beautiful place. I highly suggest going to visit Victory Junction Gang Camp, who is in Roundelman, North Carolina. Also, their race shop is in Roundelman too, I do believe. And my uncle kind of influenced my love for racing and wrestling at the same time. They coexist. So, and then after Richard retired, I kind of went to Dale Sr., right? Then we lost Dale Sr. Then I became a Dale Jr. fan, and nowadays I pull for Kyle Busch, I pull for Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, in Xfinity I root for Anthony Alfredo, and in trucks I root for Tony B. Sorry, Tony, I can't pronounce your last name. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, my uncle had a big influence in my life and my racing life too. So it was cool. Got to met really cool people along the way, especially in NASCAR. So it's been a journey. Thank you. Thanks, Geek. And thanks for the idea, Geek. I really appreciate the show idea. Now, let's get into the top 5 who finished at Las Vegas Motorsport. Oh, do I have any honorable mention? Dale Sr. was going to be my next question. Would you ever consider doing... Oh, very good. I'll have to reach out. Yeah, I think I had a few honorable mentions in this category, but would I ever consider doing a show about Dale Sr.? Yes, but I would reach out to Dale Jr. and ask him with permission if it was okay if I did a podcast on his dad. Yeah, that would be something to see if they would be interested to do a, or maybe he would like to be who knows, maybe he would be like to be a guest on the driver's seat. Who knows? It's really hard to say. Here are at least 10 of. If you could sit down with any NASCAR driver in history, alive or dead, who would it be and what would you want to talk about? Oh, good question. There's so many great people. You know what? I would not mind sitting down with Wendell Scott and asking him about how his love for racing became and how he got into NASCAR. Because he is the first African American driver in NASCAR ever. And I would also like to sit down with Raja Carew and ask him about his first win. He won the Truck Series race. What up, Jay? Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Appreciate it. Roger Cross just won his first Vegas race on Friday at Vegas. So I would love to sit down with him. I would love maybe to sit down with the King, Rich Petty, or I also would like to sit down with like Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, just to name a few of retired drivers who retired, and I sorely miss, but I get to see them while they're in the booth, so that's really cool that they're commentating. My top 5 honorable mentions are number 5 is Fred Johnson. He drove the number 10 Plymouth. See, Plymouth was still around back in the series in the 1950s. Mike Klepak would be another driver who drove for Chevrolet. Frank Canal. He drove the number 1. He drove a NASCAR. There's 2 drivers that drove the number 0. It was John Dubose, and that was an Oldsmobile. That was back when Oldsmobile was still around. And Jimmy Lou Allen, and he drove the Oldsmobile. So that's my top 5 honorable mentions. But it's really cool to like see these drivers just getting their first win, making history. That's what made me a fan of NASCAR, and I hope some way along the line I get people that hadn't gave NASCAR a chance. You have the Truck Series race, you have the Xfinity, and the Cup, obviously. But you also have sister series like the modified racing and let's see, the ARCA series. Don't forget about the ARCA series. Those are the steps to get up to the big leagues are like do ARCA. Just support your local tracks. It's basically my whole message right now. Are we ready for the top 5 Vegas finishers? Okay. I'm going to start with number 5, okay? Number 5 is Ty Gibbs. Now, he started 8th and didn't lead any laps, but he's finished 267 laps in 5th place. Number 4 is my boy. I call him Watermelon Nation. Yes, rise up, Watermelon Nation. Ross Chastain, okay? He started 20th and led 2 laps, and he drives for Trackhouse Racing. Yes, I'm still talking about Trackhouse Racing, who is owned by Justin Marks, who still drives part-time for NASCAR, but he likes being the owner and operator of Trackhouse Racing, along with Pitbull. Yes, you heard me right. Pitbull. How old is Ty Gibbs? Well, I'm pretty sure he's like 20 years old, Devin. And he drives for his grandpa, Joe Gibbs. I don't know if y'all knew that his grandpa was Coach Gibbs. Ty is 21 years old, so yes, he is a baby. All right. So Ross Chastain finishing 4th. Good job, Trackhouse. Y'all know what it is. Yes, he is. I've actually met Joe Gibbs. He's a sweetheart. This is actually when he was still coaching the Redskins, and I used to be a Redskin fan until they took my Indian away. Then I said bye-bye to the NFL for 2 years. Yes, it's crazy. 21 and driving. Yes, a baby driving a car. Yes. Number 3, coming in at number 3. We have Ryan Blaney, who started 15th, led 0 laps, and drives for, yes, Roger Penske. I know I talked a lot about Roger Penske in the first show, obviously for, getting his first pole at Daytona with Joey Logano. Okay, number 2, coming in at number 2. Tyler Reddick started 18th. Okay, completed 260 laps, led 1 lap, and y'all want to take a wild guess of which NBA legend he drives for? Very good question, Fluid. Let me put this up. Thank you. Who was the one NFL coach that owned the NASCAR team? That would be Joe Gibbs, and yes, Gibbs Racing is still alive today. So yeah, he owns the 20 car. I'll have to do that. No, good guess though, but he used to own a car. I don't know if Brad Daugherty is still around. Sometimes I think he retired from commentating. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that and give you an update, Fluid. Remind me, okay, buddy? Actually, Tyler Reddick drives for none other than Michael Jordan himself. He's also owned by Denny Hamlin, but hey, I like to see people do good things. So, Michael Jordan, you got a Wheelman on your hands there, sir. Doing really awesome. And the man who won Sunday race, obviously, he got in first place. Yes, I'm talking about none other than Rich Hendrick's driver. Yes, Hendrick Motorsports is back on top, ladies and gentlemen, okay? That's a good one for it. Ladies and gentlemen, Yes, y'all should have known that one. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Rick Hendrick Motorsports number 5. Kyle Larson won the race. He started the race in second position, led to finish 260 laps, led 181 laps, and drives for Mr. Rick Hendrick. Last week before last, he won Daytona with William Byron, and that was the 40th anniversary of the conception of Hendrick Motorsports. So maybe, who knows? Maybe Hendrick Motorsports would like to sit down with me. You never know. I'm just saying. Let's see. Not that one. And don't forget that we have merch. Yes, merch, y'all. We have I can't get your ass off that hot ass sand and get you a beach towel. Yes, people, beach towels are back. I mean, we are having 70-degree weather. Yes, you can get your merch at Bloodline. The Bloodline ENT.com/store STORE. There's also driver's seat merch there. So get your merch, please support the show. And I hope you enjoyed the show, Mr. Bot Rich. Any new NASCAR? You see our Bloodline lion, our one foam femur. You see driver's seat merch. You see, for your pleasure, a faux show pleasure, as little DJ says, and it is decided. You see that merch there too. And yes, there's our lovely beach towel with our old school line logo on it. Beautiful, beautiful merch. Any new news in NASCAR news? I can tell you some old news that happened last week. Joey Logano got caught with webbing between the gloves of his hands that did not meet the NASCAR recommendations. So he had to start all the way back in the back and then pay a $10,000 fine for those altered gloves. So do not alter your gloves, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Kate, what is your question? If you have a question, I will answer your question. Oh, I know they just started this year. Good question. I know there's a and I'll try to reach out to one of my friends and see if they can confirm this for me. I do know, as far as the total weight of a car, gear, and driver, I will have to find out that information because I know this year NASCAR is doing a little bit something different. They are having the drivers weigh in like the MMA fighters do. So let me write that down for questions for next week, and I'll be happy to get that information for you. Now, I know the old cars used to be like 2,100 pounds, and I'm not sure what the new gen cars weigh now. Again, I'll have to ask one of my NASCAR buddies and let y'all know next week. I'm actually going to look up the weight of the car now. I'm only answering this because I respect you, Fluid. And I'm trying not to get into the things that Danica has done. I mean, yeah, she paved the way for us ladies to get in NASCAR, but like her career was basically meh. But she did teach the drivers how to be safe and how to wreck properly. So I give her that. But other than that, I wasn't a fan of her. I used to be, but after what she said about Martin Truex Jr. after Sherry passed away, no thank you. It is a Toyota Camry, I believe that the new next gen car is. And it's the body style for the Camry, which is the XV80. But as far as like the specs, I will have to look that up and report back on that maybe next week if that's okay with you guys. Hey, Mr. Botrix, hit my music, please. Thank you for everybody coming to the show, and we'll see y'all next week.
This is a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last. You know what I'm talking about?